Hello everyone, Professor Profit with you. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 presidential election, handicapping who we think is going to be the best value to bet on, and go over some of the details of what might cause the election to tip one way or another. Of course, Joe Biden will be representing the Democratic ticket, the former vice president, for 8 years, and Donald Trump for the Republicans will be seeking re-election. Right now the polls have Biden up anywhere from 10 to 14 points, and we have a few reasons here why we think Joe Biden will win. Current odds right now, Joe Biden comes in at minus 225. That means take $225 bet to win $100. Trump comes in at plus 200, which means that same $225 bet would win you $450 should Trump win the election. What I think is fascinating, the general public thus far, 59% are betting on Trump to win, and only 35% bet on Joe Biden. So it's unusual to see the underdog get that much, that high percentage of betting. Some of the reasons Joe Biden will win the election. Of course, the betting market's strong to Biden. The polls, strong to Biden, the national polls, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. The hatred for Donald Trump out there is palatable. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of people who are not that wild about Joe Biden that will go out and just vote against Donald Trump, so you'll have that factored in. The older GOP voters are worried about COVID, how it's been handled, and Trump could lose some of his support from the older folks that voted for him in 2016. And also, white suburban women do not like Donald Trump's personality, and he could lose some support there. As you remember, the 2016 election was razor thin, so any lost votes will hurt Donald Trump. And finally, the chance of fraud in this election I think is great. We have a lot of swing states. Florida, you've got Miami. Pennsylvania, you've got Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Michigan, you have Detroit. All these are strong Democrat cities. And the vote by mail is also another opportunity for fraud. So November 3rd is going to be an interesting day. In Texas, a Biden campaign worker was found with 700,000, that is correct, ballots that he had obtained. That's one man in one city, and so obviously if he's the one that got caught, how many of them are out there that did not get caught? So in the past, by the time we went to bed on election day, we knew who the next president was going to be. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that is not the case this year. This could go on for weeks with the mail-in ballots being counted. So those are the reasons why Joe Biden will win the election on November the 3rd. The reasons Donald Trump will win now, the enthusiasm gap in 2016 was +1 for the Republicans, which won the election. This time it's +34, a huge gap. Some of the polls in swing states are showing that Trump has a lead and is performing strongly. And there are multiple polls that have Donald Trump in the lead, and that's where some of the national polls take our eye off the ball, if you will. Biden's up from 10 to 14, but it's really the swing states is where it's going to be won or lost, and it's a lot closer in those states. So it'll be interesting to watch that. Trump's reduced his ad spending in Iowa and Ohio, both of those swing states. So obviously the Trump campaign feels like those are safe. I think Ohio, they won by 8 points in 2016. So that wasn't really a toss-up battleground state back in 16 as we were led to believe. Strong support, probably the strongest for Trump from the black and Hispanic communities. That's always been historically strong for Democrats. It still is, but not as strong as it was before. Gallup poll just recently had a survey asking people if they're better off now than they were 4 years ago. 56% said that they are better off, which is the highest result ever recorded by Gallup. Reagan was a previous high at 44%, so that's going to be tough to beat. Going back to the betting, 59% are betting on Trump to win, and in a survey, 56% of voters feel like Donald Trump will win, even though he's the prohibitive underdog according to the polls and according to the books. Norpoth poll predicts that Donald Trump will win 363 electoral votes. Rasmussen has that similar number. No president who has run unopposed in his primary has ever lost. No president who has received less than 75% support from his party has ever lost since 1988, I believe that one is. Donald Trump had 94% in his primaries. So his base is enthusiastic for him. It's a strong base, and they will show up at the polls on November the 3rd. We'll get our third quarter financial results on October the 29th, just a few days before the election. It's expected to be the fastest growing quarter in the history since they've been taking the records, looking at somewhere around 32% growth, and that will be a nice push for Donald Trump. New registration is much higher for the Republicans than the Democrats, especially in Pennsylvania, which is a key battleground state. Both campaigns need to win that one. And also, going back to the enthusiasm, since Labor Day, almost 250,000 people have come out to see Donald Trump. Less than 100 have attended Biden events. Not 100,000, less than 100 people. I think it'll all come down to, of course, the battleground states. We will have a pretty good idea early who's going to win it. When the Florida results come in, should Biden win that state, his odds, I think, go up to about 9-1 to win. So he'll be at plus 900. Should Trump win Florida, that'll put him going from a 2-1 underdog to a 3-1 favorite, in my opinion. If he wins Florida, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. So we will see. We'll know early, hopefully, if it doesn't end up in court. So at minus 200, Donald Trump looks like a pretty good value bet. If you like to bet the dogs, that would be a good bet for you. So that's kind of the way we're looking at the 2020 presidential election on handicapping it. I hope you enjoyed what you watched here. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel. We also talk quite a bit about sports betting, although it's as weird as the sports has been in 2020. We haven't done a lot of that. But we hope you will subscribe, and we hope you enjoyed this, and we'll come back and visit with us again. Once again, this is Professor Prophet, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.